Now, of course, Bob is a smart client and he gets the report and he's got a question. So he calls you. And his question is, what if I can get a lower rate on my renewal? It's like, oh, no, Bob, why did you have to ask me that? And it's a valid question. Right now, you are giving me 1.65. Great, I have some savings. But what if at this blue line, when the end of current term is, what if I can get a lower rate? Then will I still save money with a refi today? And that's an excellent question. And that gets us into a next section of the training, which is anticipated renewal rate. So this is tough, at least for me it is. It's a tough topic to discuss in words. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something more visual because that's how I see it. Let's see. So I want to explain a little bit about why we get the numbers that we do so that you're fully aware. And then I show you how we can do a future rate analysis on the app. So here we have a time chart starting from 0 month all the way to 60 month. We know that currently Bob is getting a 3.29. And this ends right here, which is exactly 36 months from now. That's called the end of current term. And we're proposing to Bob that we're going to give you a 1.65, which is much lower, and it's going to end in 60 months. It's a 5-year term. That's the green line. So that's our end of new term. This area, the difference between these rates is what is our potential savings. That's how much interest savings we get. And we stopped it at the end of current term, of course, because past the current term, Bob may have the ability to renew, and it's not going to be 3.29. So we can't continue the savings. Now, something else to bear in mind that this savings is not actually what we're going to walk away with because there is a penalty. There was a $20,000 penalty that Bob had to pay. So we kind of have to give up some of our savings to recover that cost, that $20,000. And hopefully it covers and we have some additional savings. The point where we recover all the cost, that's considered the break-even point. And at that point, 28 months actually, we can start having real savings. So that's the baseline. That's what the refi analyzer does. And that's what it shows on top of the screen in the header. That savings is actually this number. Now, Bob's question is, what if I can get a lower rate? So let's see what happens if Bob gets a lower rate. So obviously, if he gets anything lower than his current, he's saving against his current. But because our rate is so much lower than anticipated 2.0, we still have savings. So we can easily tell Bob, listen, as long as you get anything above our offering, you're still saving with us. That's not a problem. But he's wondering, what if I can get a lower rate? It's a very, very good question. So in that case, we will have some loss because the rate we're offering is actually higher than the rate Bob anticipates to get, which is a 1.35. But the main question is this loss less than our savings gain? And that's really what the future rate analysis will do for you. It will figure out this cost, whether this cost is less than our savings. Because if it is, then our savings is winning, even if it's a 1.35. So without further ado, let me show you how this actually works. It's so simple, you're gonna love it. All you do is you scroll down past the graph and you plug in the anticipated renewal rate. So Bob thinks 1.35 is the solution. We just tap it in, and really the trick here is that as long as you see green, you're good. As long as there's green here, means that the refi is winning. So to walk through this a little bit, of course, this is our current term from here to here, and we have some costs associated at the beginning. So we're gonna recover that cost month by month. We're gonna keep recovering with the interest savings until we get to break even. And now we have additional savings. And at this point, Bob believes that he can get a 1.35. So now we're actually not saving. So you can see a decline in the graph. However, up until 60 months, we still have positive savings because we've gained enough savings in here to be greater than the loss that is currently in this area here. Whew. So you can easily move the slider over to the right and say, hey, Bob, listen, even if you get a 1.35, which is highly unlikely, the refi is still a positive by $3,000. So that's the future rate analysis. And now let's do some exercises together. So I have a challenge for you here. What is the lowest renewal rate that Bob needs to get in order to refi into a losing scenario? In order to turn the refi into a losing scenario. So I actually have a poll. I'd like to see if you guys are following along. So let me pop that in there. Go ahead. So just quickly answer it. And let's see if everyone. So to do this, just use the slider. Just use the slider. You don't have to get it super detailed. Just move the slider to the point that you believe the renewal rate should be for Bob to turn the current winning scenario into a losing one. All right, so I can see the results as they go, and must say 25% of people are correct. Now 28% now. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll and show it to everyone. Share results. And for some reason, my reflector also crashed. So I'm gonna open that up again. Okay, so we got the correct answer is, we're going to find out, actually, I'm gonna show you how we found the correct answer, but it doesn't look, it looks like people need this tool. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we get the results. So the correct answer was 1.05. Hey, what's up? Sorry for the interruption, but this is Ben from the future. I traveled to the past just to show you the results of the survey. Unfortunately, Zoom doesn't allow me to show the results while recording. So here it is. Only 28% have answered correctly. All right, back to the Ben in the past. And the way you get this is very simple. You use the slider and you just kind of walk down until the end hits a red line or red bubble. So that's the point, that's the lowest renewal rate but Bob needs to get in order to turn the refi into a losing scenario. What this means that any rate above this 1.05, any rate above, the refi is winning for sure. But if Bob can get a lower rate than a 1.05, then the refi becomes less of a winning scenario. So you can quickly say, hey, Bob, listen, if you can get a 1.05 in 36 months, yeah, at least a 1.4. Yeah, sure. I mean, you can wait. But if you don't think you're going to get it, then it's better to refi today. So let's do another one. Oh, this one is tougher. So what if the penalty is really high? Let me just change this to $30,000 and set this back to 3.29. So at this point, the refi is not a winning scenario, right? It is not a winning scenario because our costs haven't been recovered in the current term. So we can't really call it a win. However, question is, at what future rate, renewal rate would make the refi? Oh my God, this is, see, I told you, this is not easy. At what future renewal rate would the refi start to become a winning option? So even though we're not breaking even in the current term and our break even is past the current term, exactly at 43 months, what future rate would make the refi a winning option? And I'm going to start this poll as well. This is a tough session, I'd say. 2.25, I see 2.2, 2.15. Uh-oh, it's close. It's very close. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. And it looks like the results are in. 2.2, people think 2.2 will make the refi a winning scenario. So let's see what we have to do. We have to move the slider to a point until we get the smallest winning. 2.15 was the answer. Hey, it's me again, Ben from the future. You can tell by my headset. I'm going to now share the results of the second poll. Unfortunately, 47% of participants have answered 2.2, which was incorrect. So what this really means is that any rate that is greater than 2.15 in the future makes a refi a winning scenario. So if you move this over to a little bit higher, if we anticipate a 3.95, and let's say we're just anticipating because it's just, it's not real because we can't see the future. But if we anticipate a 3.95, then getting a refi, even though you break even later, you have so much savings because of that 3.95 in the future. And anything less than that, if I go less than 2.19, 2.15, then of course it's already a loss. I mean, it was a loss even at this point at 2.15, but anything lower than that, it's just, there's no hope for it. Actually, there is a way. So, which takes me to the next section here. Debt consolidation.